If you like this video, please click subscribe, share, like it, and if you want coaching with me in Nottingham or online, all the information is in the bio. Are you doing all right? So I talk a lot on this channel about how cue actions are not as important as people think and are distracting people to improve because they're too obsessed with getting this perfect technique, right? So I'm going to do a post about a cue action. So in this video, I'm going to show you the best, most reliable cue action ever. Right, so cue action. All you need is a shorty cue, obs. But basically, all a cue action is the tip going backwards and forwards about 10 inch, right? So all you need to do is set up, anchor it to your body, and all it is a backwards forwards motion, right? Now with that cue action there, look, I can play any shot, right? And that's all you need to get. If you can get a consistent backwards and forwards motion, whether it's I always anchor it to my chest about there and get down. I always say think John Higgins. If you see John, right, he really sort of hugs his cue, uses his chin, and he sort of just goes like that, and he sends it on its way. But there's loads of weird and wonderful ways you can do it. If it's here, it don't matter. It don't matter if you can repeat it. If you can go backwards and forwards, you'll play the shot. But I think people are getting too obsessed with all the little different things that you can do in a cue action. All you've got to do is have a backwards and forwards motion that you can repeat. It doesn't always have to be dead straight. I mean, Judd Trump doesn't come through straight, but he repeats this backwards and forwards motion, and all it is a piston-like motion like that. That's it. You could do anything with that, and if you can just learn how to do something like that consistently, you can play any shot. So, look, it's on my chest, and I'm just going bang, 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 and that's it. That's honestly as deep as you need to get. So there you go, that's it. Like I said on the video, a cue action is your tip moving backwards or forwards about that much, right? All you've got to do is try and create just a consistent backwards and forwards and backwards movement, right? That's it. You can play any shot with it. And then it's about learning how to play the game. There's loads of weird and wonderful ways you can do it. Try and do something that's comfortable, that you can repeat it. Because if you can't repeat it, you won't be a good player. Look at the pro game. The best players in the world, they all have different ways of going about it, but they can just repeat their cue action. Some are not straight, some way off, and that's the reason. Like, you've got people like Mark Williams, right? Now the reason you can do his little three cues under there, do you know what I mean? It's because he can repeat that forward and backwards and movement, and he can pop the balls. But he can align and just do it, and the balls go in. It's not magic. It's just something that he's learned through knowing how to aim the cue in the right direction. People are forgetting about that. They're not doing it, and they're getting wrapped up in it, and it's just making them worse. In this backwards and forwards movement, it doesn't really matter what's happening. How your grip is really, or where your arm is, where your shoulders are, because the contact point with the white is such a small amount of time. As long as you make contact with that part of the white that you need to play the shot, it'll go in. It doesn't matter where your feet are, your elbow, your ears, right? If you can just create that consistent backwards forwards motion, and then know where those points are on the white, you can play any shot. And that's it. I mean, I've heard stories about people coming here saying that they've been told that when they hold the cue, there's got to be a gap there. Like, what are you talking about, right? I don't know anybody that's any good that does that, but I just find it fascinating that these things this stuff's being preached, and it's a shame because it's stopping people improve. Because while you're thinking about this, having a gap, if you want to have a gap, that's fine, but you don't have to have it. As long as you can repeat. There's a pattern emerging, isn't there? while people are doing all this stuff, they're not actually learning how to play. So they're not getting any better. So and all the people that are doing this stuff, you know, why aren't they better players? Don't fall into the trap of, and I know it's very easy to do that. You look at some of the great cue actions in the program; they're really pretty cue actions, and you think, oh, they must be great because it's so smooth, and or it's this, that, the other, and it looks so it's got so much rhythm, and some people set up in a more sort of natural way. It's not so robotic or whatever, and they think that that's why they're good players. It's irrelevant, right? The reason they're good players is not because it looks pretty. It's because they can get the Q-tip to the correct point of the white. A Q action doesn't have to be pretty. If you're blessed with a pretty one, then crack on. But if you're not, don't worry about it. Just repeat what you can do, and you'll definitely get better. So as soon as you can repeat that backwards and forwards motion, then focus your attention on actually playing the game, because that's where you're going to get better. Because if you've got the knowledge how to play the game properly and know where to hit on the white, and more importantly, know where you're hitting on the white, the sky's the limit, really, and how good you can get. I think snooker is not. It's not it's not It's not in your genes. You're not just blessed with this thing. It's hand-eye coordination and learning how to play it. So anybody can do that. Obviously, you've got to have the hand-eye coordination. That goes without saying. But when you have got an average level of that, you can learn to be a decent player, a very good player. But being wrapped up in all this sort of stuff, you're not going to. I mean, that's why there's not more good players around. And like I say, a lot of these people preaching this stuff, they're not that good. So please, please, please believe me that being a better snooker player is within your reach. You just have to look in the right direction. There are players in the game that wouldn't be described as having a pretty cue action. I think a player at the minute who's probably the best player in the world at the minute, Mark Allen. You don't hear people talking about how pretty his cue action or I want a cue like that. But the irony of all irony is you do want a cue like that. His cue action is brilliant because he can repeat it. And that's the goal. That's the dream, is to be able to repeat your cue action. You know, if you want to look at it from that daft perspective that about making it look smooth and pretty, some of these people preaching about all this stuff that you could argue they've got a better cue action than him. Well, they haven't. No chance. He repeats it and he knows how to play and he's unbelievable player. So I always try and use these professionals as a reference to sort of try and move people away from this stuff, because a lot of the pros don't do it. They're the best players in the world. Even if you don't want to take my word for it, these are the best players in the world. They can repeat their action and then they learn how to play the game. So there you go, bang that drum again. I hope that's all right. Please comment if you want to question anything I've said or agree with it or disagree with it, and I will see you soon.